Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. It's going to be a midday treat for you. It's not a quickie. It's going to be a longie. This is a story about Martha Ann Alito, Justice Alito's wife. As we know, she said a neighbor had a vulgar sign, I believe said F Trump on their front lawn. And then there was a verbal altercation, and that's what spurred Martha Alito to hang the American flag upside down because of a spat with a neighbor. Because that makes a lot of sense, right? That's what we all do. I mean, if I were arguing with my neighbor next door, clearly the appropriate resolution to that problem is for me to hang an upside down American flag. Or we can listen to what the neighbor said. What is this neighbor's name? Emily Baden was the neighbor. No longer lives in the neighborhood. According to Martha Ann Alito, Baden used the term, I can't say it, C*NT. It's your go-to word if you want to really upset a woman and call her the nastiest thing you can. And that's what prompted all this. There's a small problem, though. According to Baden, that conversation didn't happen until mid-February, and this flag was flying upside down on January 17th, so almost a month later. Now, there's a he said, she said, if you've ever heard one, right? But except for there's one thing. Baden's boyfriend at the time had called police on February 15th, 2021 to complain that Martha Ann Alito was accusing her of unprompted harassment, and the caller said the confrontations were based on yard signs they had put up that were critical of former President Donald Trump. What do you know? Two different stories, and one story can be corroborated with some supporting evidence. And you can imagine that you can check the police logs. Was there a call there? What was the substance of that call? Because guess what? It's going to be recorded and it's going to be documented. That's what happens. These things get recorded and documented. So now there's going to be recordings and documentation supporting the neighbor versus the trust me bro word of Martha Ann Alito. Additionally, Baden said that Justice Alito just walked away and didn't do anything as the two women were arguing. Apparently one of the signs that Baden put on her lawn read, "You are complicit." Alito said the signs were directed at his wife. Baden told CNN the sign was not directed at either of the Alitos. Okay. Alito's only response was, "My wife is fond of flying flags. I am not." We've got some problems here, folks. We've got a Supreme Court justice who does not feel the need to be honest when talking. Because right now, if this were a court case, guess who's got the evidence on their side? That doesn't mean that the neighbor, Baden, which sounds a lot like it's only been valid off from Biden, is telling the truth. But if you look at the two stories and their actions, the neighbor's actions seem to line up better with the facts than the Supreme Court justice's wife. Okay, 4-minute intro. Let's throw on the energy. They're going to look at the energy of this now with the flag situation with Alito and Baden here. What can you tell us about this? Okay, entertainment purposes only. Here's facts, integrity, delusion. Basically, one person here is acting with integrity. The other person is not. And, it's up to the viewer to decide who's acting with integrity. Now, Baden did say she regrets using the nasty slur against Martha Ann Alito because it takes away from the story. That sort of lines up. I would agree. The F Trump in New York, the F Trump sign's vulgar, probably not the best sign to put out there. I understand the sentiment. However, both those things You can see where the argument comes up on that one. But when there's documentation, the argument happened a month after the flag was flying upside down. Somebody, Martha, isn't telling the truth there. It's evaluating the evidence, evaluating the details, looking at the values of things here. So we've got a pair of sevens here. You've got delusion versus evidence. You decide. Again, Martha and Alito's story doesn't make any sense. If you're upset with a neighbor because of the "you are complicit" in F Trump signs, and they told you to go, to leave, to get the heck out of their space, none of us would be hanging flags upside down. There'd be other ways you'd want to get even. Usually involves damaging people's cars, from tires to paint jobs, you know what I mean? And I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying that if that neighbor had woken up the next morning and their car was keyed or their tires were slashed, or something like that, or if Martha Ann Alito flipped her off every time she walked down the street, those things would make sense. But hanging your flag upside down doesn't make sense. That story doesn't jive. You know what else doesn't jive? These kitties over here fighting. She's about to go pounce him. We'll leave it down this way so you can see Nico's tail swishing as he's stalking her. He's ready to get that kitten. Oh, and there she goes. How about you? You can't really see it. Sorry, folks. They're just fighting too close to the table here. See? Okay. More kitty fighting, more tarot card reading, less David. In the past, we got the Ten of Wands. These neighbors probably didn't see eye to eye to begin with. This is probably would have been a difficult relationship in the first place. I get the impression that Miss Baden is a fairly outspoken person, and so is Miss Alito. The difference is Miss Alito has power because of her association with the Supreme Court Justice. So this is just going to be like there's two queen bees arguing with the HOA. You know what I mean? Current situation, Ace of Cups. They let their emotions get out of hand, and I'm not saying that from a female can't control their emotions point of view. Passions were running high, from Miss Baden's passions about Trump and the way that the country was handled for 4 years under his administration, to Miss Alito's confrontation with that neighbor, and then, but again, flying the flag upside down happened a month before the confrontation, according to the evidence, which means that Miss Alito was expressing her frustration and her anger with what the citizens of the United States wanted to do with their country long before the neighbor did anything to express a counter opinion. Overarching energy is the Knight of Wands. This case, evidence, there's probably going to be more evidence that comes out. There's not a case here, per se. I mean, what the case is that Justice Alito needs to recuse himself from anything related to January 6th. Because while he may not have hung the flag upside down, he did nothing to take it down. He did nothing to diffuse the situation, so there's the appearance of bias. You cannot ethically rule on a case when there is an appearance of bias. That's one of the rules, Mr. Alito. If he doesn't do that, if he decides that he's going to stay on this case, or stay on January 6 cases, he's an idiot. And it's going to cost him. With regards to this whole sign thing, this is two people doing the things that they wanted to do. And they were on... they really are getting on, fighting over there. These are two people... I don't want to... They weren't acting very mature. That's all I want to say. Passions are running high. They didn't feel the need to withhold their opinions on things, and rather then ratchet it down, let bygones be bygones. They amplified it more. I'm not trying to judge here. I'm just saying we can look at it now, 4 years in the rearview mirror and be a lot calmer. But remembering what the times were like it then, the whole country was at a boiling point. So I get it. I understand why they didn't. Because, yeah, I get it. I was there. Out comes the Knight of Cups. Well, I don't think they're going to be friends anytime soon. You know what the other interesting thing is? There's not even a tepid apology from the Alitos on this. The Alitos are absolutely convinced that this woman's at fault, and they were fine with this one. And the cat's just running out of the room. Sorry, Martha Alito comes across as false. She's just a false person. Now, I want to throw on Justice Alito, because I can also look at this, that if, he's going to try and, if I were to look at this card for Alito, he plans on staying on the case, and he's going to say, I can rule dispassionately and such. No, he can't. He really can't. He just doesn't want to leave it. Not when you got a 6-3 majority. It's all about the winnings here. Take away women's... Hey, little girl. Take away women's rights. Get rid of that. Make sure racial gerrymandering can be done forever and ever and ever. What other fun things has the Supreme Court been up to recently? I'm sure they're going to figure out a way to make Donald Trump a king, all the while not letting Joe Biden be a king. There's got to be some caveat to prevent SEAL Team 6 from coming into the Supreme Court and offing 2/3 of the Supreme Court for committing the crime of being of the wrong political and social spectrum, as it were. Because that's not a country of law and order. It's the banana republic that the Republicans talk about. Okay, with this new revelation, how will John Roberts handle Justice Alito? And there's congressmen asking questions too. There's a lot of pressure on him. How is John Roberts going to handle Alito, this whole situation here? Just like Clarence Thomas, he's going to start talking with him and offering him suggestions that Alito doesn't want to hear. There's probably, there's talks are going on behind the scenes, deals being made, but there might be some more stuff going on here. And here's that burden card again. It literally is Robert saying, you really do need to recuse yourself. You've given the impression that there's a bias here. And Alito's going to say, go pound sand. I don't have to. Nobody can force me to. There's no rule for it. I can rule ethically on this, and you can't prove otherwise. 5 is the 5 of Cups in the past, the disappointment. Yeah, congratulations, Roberts. It's just another crappy thing had to happen with a crappy Supreme Court that you're the Chief Justice on. Aren't you glad you decided you wanted to wear the Chief Justice robe for this one? Current situation, 2 of Cups. Yeah, there's bipartisan support for something to be done with Alito on this one, because those congressmen were not just Democrats that were coming out and wanting to talk with Alito. And I think that's what Roberts is saying is, what, there's bipartisan support. It could be that they're just waiting for this thing to die down. That could be the other alternate with this. Just be cool. We'll just keep a low profile here. Yada, yada, yada. This thing will die down. Nobody will care about that flag anymore. But overarching is the devil. It's this, the Republicans' fealty to Donald Trump and MAGA. If Alito steps down, it's still a 5-3 majority for the conservatives. It doesn't it's not like it goes from 6-3 to 5-4. It just goes 5-3. But I think it's also with Alito, it's just he's been in this position for so long, he doesn't answer to anyone. I think that's the problem. You want to have an agreement, with somebody who's disagreeable and has no motivation to have an agreement with you, which is why they're resisting your offers, because they don't have to. Literally, it's oppositional theory. You're telling me to leave, so I'm not going to. Lesson to be learned is the Tower. These are horrible cards. This makes me think something's going to happen to Roberts or Alito. Because of this. I have a hard time believing that, but that's what it's leading me to believe. Is that, and it could just be that this really blows the top off the Supreme Court or people's trust in the Supreme Court. Not that they haven't done stuff before to earn this, but this is just those voluntary rules. Oh, look at that nice card at the end. Those voluntary rules for ethical standards. If Alito doesn't recuse himself, those voluntary rules aren't working. Remember, they came up, and that's probably what that Two of Cups is. This Two of Cups is Roberts coming up with those voluntary rules that we all are going to agree on. The blue justices and the red justices, we're all going to agree. We're going to put ourselves through our own ethical assessment and recuse ourselves as necessary. No, you're not. We go from the storm to the calm after the storm. Something not good is going to happen out of it. This case is not insignificant. Something not good is going to happen out of it. It's either the reputation of the Supreme Court takes a huge hit, or the best thing to happen is Alito steps down. That diffuses this. But if he refuses to step down, then he might get torn down. And I'm okay with that. I always thought it was going to be Clarence Thomas that goes first. Maybe Alito's going to be the first one to go. So a little four-carder. What's Alito thinking right now with this whole situation? The cats have stopped fighting because Nico's jumped up on a banister. The kitten can't get to him yet. She hasn't developed quite the courage to jump up where he goes up. It's not very high. It's a 4-foot ledge on our staircase, and he's just perched on it like Snoopy on top of his doghouse. But the two of them were getting rough with each other, and eventually he broke it off, and she chased him, and he's jumped up high so that the kitten will leave him alone. She's easily distracted, so it won't take long before the kitten's looking at something else. Okay, Alito, what's he doing? What's he thinking about all this? Justice Alito, that is, not the wife. He's going to fight it. He feels like he should be fighting this. He's paid to fight it. I'll leave it there. Entertainment purposes only. He's fighting for the honor of his wife. Yeah, she's telling him, you need to fight this. You can't let those people push you around. Look at that. Queen of Wands and Queen of Cups. His wife tells him what to do, and she's unhinged. And there we go underneath it. He's being told to step down. He's going to fight it. His wife wants him to fight it. She's cray-cray. And there's other stuff going on. They talk about some justices, congressmen being bought and paid for. From what we can see from the Harlan Crow, Clarence Thomas thing, it could very well be that there are Supreme Court justices who are bought out too. Or certainly have financial interests, or are given financial incentives and encouragement to rule in certain ways. Hate to be saying that. Entertainment purposes only. I have no proof other than it seems that both Thomas and Alito have been negligent on reporting gifts that they have received. And you would think a Supreme Court justice would be very cognizant of such things, because you're supposed to be setting the bar for all other judges, lawyers, etc., etc., etc. If you can't follow the law, how can you expect anybody to follow the law? You know what I mean? How about Martha Ann Alito? What's she going through right now? A little four-carder on her, too. Page of Pentacles. She's a very small person with very small values. Planning next moves. Justice. Death card. Nine of Cups. It would be humorous to see her offer a very small, insincere apology trying to diffuse this situation here. More likely, she would be the type that would try to sue that neighbor for defamation and bring this into the courts. I believe that second one more than I believe the first. It's something that should be, it extends beyond the women. The other thing is that I think Martha Alito enjoys the power and the influence that having a Supreme Court justice husband has. And it gives her the ability to do things other people can't do. My husband's a Supreme Court justice. Perhaps Justice Alito, my husband, type of thing. But I think he's been probably talking about stepping down for a little bit, and she doesn't want him to. I think she's gotten comfortable with the lifestyle. Where's Robin Leach when you need him? The lifestyles of the rich and famous now becomes the lifestyles of the Supreme Court justices. After the opening episode, traveling around in Clarence Thomas's motor coach, it'll be champagne wishes and caviar dreams at the Alito household. Oh, God. In the end of the day, with the energies they are now, what's the next thing that's going to happen with this case? I'll leave it with this one here. What's the next thing that's going to happen? It's not a case, David. It's a kerfuffle. It's a kerfuffle with this argument, this intriguing story. What's the next thing that's going to happen with it? Well, there's going to be more broadcasts. More information is going to come out. We're going to get more information soon. And it's going to be really problematic for somebody. I don't think it's going to be the neighbor that's problematic because nobody cares about her. Yeah, there's going to be more information, more investigations that are going to spawn out of this, believe it or not. And it's involving the wife. Or she might, heaven forbid. Three of Cups. The next card on there was the Devil card. It's almost like she wants to go on Fox News and defend herself and just make things worse. Because the next card was the Devil card. Kind of like as a qualifier for all of that. It's just, she's going to make things worse. Trying to prove her point. She wants to be celebrated in conservative circles, MAGA circles, and there's the touch of arrogance that comes from having wealth and power and influence. Again, the vibe I get is that she's like these TikTok videos we've seen of what we would call Karens. And my apologies to any woman named Karen that's watching this. It's not your fault. I don't know how that term came up. But these very entitled white women who want to speak to the manager when they're not getting their way. And it's like she, and probably Martha Ann Alito's mindset, entertainment purposes only, again, I don't know. I don't live there. My gut feeling is that she walked around the neighborhood like she was the queen bee. And the queen bee didn't like what the other bee had on her driveway and told her about it with the expectation that the other woman would understand the pecking order and remove her sign because the queen bee told her to. And the other woman told her to go pound sand. Like I think many of my audience members would like to tell this person to do. Free country, I can put whatever I want. I have an idea. Here's 50 cents. Go call somebody who cares because you won't find it here. And now she has to, with this information coming out, Martha Ann is losing. So she's going to have to come out stronger to win. I think this woman loves winning. She loves the influence. She loves the lifestyle. She loves the, I'm the queen bee. I'm the wife of a Supreme Court justice. Not many people can say that. So stay tuned. I don't think this thing is over. Hope you enjoyed this video. Check out Tarot of the Seven Seas if you want to see international readings, or Twin Tarot with Gary and David, my other channel that I share with my identical twin brother Gary, where we cover items like this, and probably we'll cover that this weekend when we go to film. It's a romp, and I kind of wish Gary was here for this one because the two of us would have a good time. Gary is a Republican, but he's not an idiot. And he would look at Martha Ann's behavior here and just like, he'd be shaking his head. We'd be having a lot of fun. I think we got to read on this one too. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for supporting this channel. I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.